Okay, you're recorded.
Good evening, class. Hey. Today we're gonna work on these hats, and so Jen's got some felt hats here, but the band's a little bit hard, so just keep that in mind if you get these kind of hats. It says Indian Joe on it. And then we got some beads here on a hank. They're just regular seed beads, so they're all pretty uniform in shape. So also keep that in mind when you're working with this. It's just easier. It'll be easier because there's some other beads too. There's like some cut beads, and those are different shape than these. So sometimes if you get stuff like that, it's harder to work with, or harder for like the consistency of it. I would use these ones on the hank just because it's easier, and you can keep it from like getting all over the place. So we got some size D thread here, which is like a really heavy thread, which is really good, especially for this. It'll be like really strong. And then some size 11 needles. And I'm not the expert hat beater. I've done a couple of them, but they were a little bit different than this. So we'll see how it goes. So if you got your thread and stuff, or whatever, you can start it however you want, but just kind of keep your however you're gonna do your design. I would suggest for like people that are just now learning, or if this is your first hat, or for you're having a little bit of difficulty, I would suggest keeping it like a simple design, or like a pattern, not getting too crazy, just because you'll have the whole hat to do, and then after you get so far, you'll notice that it's kind of a lot of work, and you might not finish it or something. So just get your needle and thread together. I always leave one end open. It's just how I was taught. I don't know how other people do it. This is how I was taught by my dad. Just because if anything happens, you can pull your needle off and keep going. So it takes, if you guys aren't used to that, you can do it however you're used to, but this is how I do it. I leave it open, and I just make sure that when I'm getting to the end, I don't pull really hard all the way through. Otherwise, I'm going to pull my needle off. So I haven't tied the knot yet, but usually what I do is for a hat, I don't tie, like I go through and then tie a knot, instead of like making a knot and then going through, if you know what I mean. So for this, I might start like just start in the middle. And I'm just gonna do a simple like pattern design, not getting too crazy. So, and then this felt is like a little bit hard to push through. So I think they got the short needles because when you work with a short needle, it's they're stronger. So to push through something hard like this, it's those short needles are stronger. But I have carpal tunnel, I'm pregnant, so it's worse right now. So I kind of can't feel my hands. So I need to work with the long needle. So I have my own needles, and they're longs. So I just got to be careful when I'm pushing it through, that I don't because I could push it through and it could bend and it could break and like stab into my finger, which is pretty painful. So just keep that in mind whenever you're choosing your needle sizes. And here's how I just went through like that. Just went through one time, and then I'm gonna go and tie my knot on there. And again, this is just how I've done my hats before. And, you know, other people probably do it differently. So just do it how you're comfortable doing. So I just tied a knot on there like that. And then I'm going to go back through that same spot just because I want that knot to stay right there.
Kaylee.
Who is it?
Kaylee. Charlie.
Hi, Kaylee.
Hi.
Where's your hat at?
I don't have one.
Oh, you better go find one of the girls' hats or something. So I'm gonna just start with white just because it'll be really easy for you guys to see this against this black. So I just broke off the top of one, and the way I do it again, I just keep them on there, because then they're already all in a row. And I take my needle and I can go in here and get however many off of there that I want. I'll take 8 because I think that's about how much it'll be. So we'll see. Ooh, might be 9 or 10. So I can just go back on here and get some more.
Yeah, that's what I do too. Is there people there in the classroom?
No.
You're the only one so far. You're getting one-on-one.
It's all about you, Kaylee.
Hells yes.
Kaylee, baby. So it's like that. And then you can see right where it ends. You could just go right in there. And again, I got the long needle, so I just got to make sure that I don't break it. There, we got one whole strand on there, guys. And then you could just keep on with your pattern or however you're going to be doing it. And you can make that bigger or longer. You could put more beads on there. You could put less beads on there if you want. However you want to do it, whatever you feel like. I'll probably just do I would probably, for this hat, make the background mostly white. And then just put like some bands of the these colors in there.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was so confused. I didn't know if there was class or there wasn't class.
Why?
I don't know, because they sent out the Zoom and I thought the first Zoom one that sent out said it was only an hour long. And I'm like, I'm confused. I'm like, is this just instruction?
Chen?
Was that from Gabrielle?
I can't remember.
Marley, turn that on. Marley.
Where is that? Will that hat fit a big head?
This one won't, because I got a big head and it doesn't fit me.
Yeah, I was worried about. I got a big head too. Big head and thick hair.
Heck yeah. I don't know about thick hair for me, but big head for sure. So there's 3 little strands right there. If you're very like particular about how like perfect this stuff is, you could probably get, since this is black felt, you could probably get like a white colored pencil and mark your line all the way across, just so that you know that it's perfectly even, because there are some people that are like that. I'm just not too much like that, just because I'm very impatient. So when I bead, I got to get my stuff done. So if you are like that, you can get like a white colored pencil and just mark your line, measure it so far in and go all the way around and just put that white mark so you know exactly how thick it's going to be. But I'm just going by how many beads there are, and usually seed beads are pretty uniform in size, so that's really helpful. Every once in a while you get seed beads that are like, there might be one that's really fat or one that's like really small, so I try to just not use those ones unless I need them in my beadwork.
You don't pre-punch any holes in that because it's felt, right?
No, no, you don't need to. I mean, you probably could, but I think that might mess with it a little, but you probably could. It's not too, it's a little tough, but it's not too bad.
You know what I seen on, because I've done a couple caps or whatever, and that has like, that's not tough either because it just has that little cardboard in it or whatever.
Yeah.
But I seen somebody that did that went around the entire thing with a sewing machine with no thread.
Oh, to punch holes?
Yeah, and just punch the holes through. The only thing I'd be worried about is, like you said, like the seed beads can be pretty uniform, but sometimes they're off.
Yeah.
So then your holes might get kind of goofy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually a trick my dad uses.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He'll use that for like leather things or whatever. You see that?
I can. Beautiful.
So, are there any questions for that, or any other questions, or any types of ways that you would want to bead? Bead that? No.
So what if they, since this is flat, what if they wanted to go something like that, or make a
Like a design, like
yeah, floral or something?
So if you wanted to do like a floral design or something like that on here, you pretty much, yeah, it's like good enough for you to do that. So you can just bead it how you would normally bead. Like if you want to do floral, like a Dakota florals or something, you could just go right through this. This is you wouldn't really have to like prepare it or anything. Just draw out your design. I would, like I said, I would use the white colored pencil and draw the design in there. A regular pencil might work too. The lead might show up for that, but it might be really hard to see. So just however you want to put your design on there. Again, like I said, I would suggest the white colored pencil, and then just go through and tack if you do the two needle style where they have the big old thing of beads and then they tack it down. You could do that, or you could do it just the lazy stitch way. Usually I work with the lazy stitch, and yeah, that's just how I would do it. I don't know if you wouldn't really necessarily have to do anything differently than that, I guess.
So what if they wanted to bead a band? Take that band off.
The band. Okay, so if I was gonna be the band, like I would take this off just because it's like perfectly matched. I think this is probably just glued. Oh, it's
Stitched. I don't know.
yeah, it's stitched.
And this hat I got at Crazy Crow Trading Post. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but I bought an extra large. And if you have a big pumpkin, it ain't gonna fit you.
Yeah, this is an extra large, and it's pretty snug on me, and I got a pretty big head, so.
Oh, not that much.
Really tacked it down.
Oh, my fan.
Yeah, your plume for this summer. So you could just use this. You could use this as a guide, like you can see, you know, how big it is. So you could use that as a guide to see like how thick you want your headband. And then you got color?
Yeah, I do. Next bag over. That one over there should have some pieces of Pellin. Oh, if not, check that row up on top of that top, on the left-hand side going towards the kiln. Check the drawers or see that big bundle of gray. You'll probably have to pull one of them out of there. Hi, Barb. So, oh, there we go.
Ooh. So here's the Pellin. It's kind of like a thick material if you guys have never seen that before. But yeah, I would just use this to measure like how thick you want it. And then how long you need it. So this thing.
Do you bead directly on that?
That Pellin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And then that's pretty easy to bead on too. This is easier to bead on than this. This, like, the needle just goes right through it. So you've never beaded on that?
Would that be like the same stuff that you use for like medallions and stuff?
Yeah, people bead medallions and stuff on it. I don't work with Pellin too much. I like to use just cloth or leather. But I don't want to cut this right now and waste it, so I'll just show.
Okay.
But my needle and thread again, just the one side, and it's not, well, I would tie this. Or you can also, the cool thing about nylon thread is that you can burn it to make your knots. The only thing is, like, just make sure that it's not so messy. And with Pellin, one of the things is if you're gonna burn it, you got to be careful because this could burn too, like it'll melt. So yeah, you could just go right. Can you see that good, Kaylee? See, watch how easy it just goes right through. Did you see that?
I seen it.
Yeah, so it's pretty like it's thick, and it's light, and it's easy for this needle and thread to go through. And then I would just do a lazy stitch all the way. However you're gonna do your design. This is kind of wide, so I would probably do maybe, like, I would probably do like 2 rows. So I might do, it's just blue because it's dark. You can see too, you can like hold your beads up too to see like how thick across it'll be. And then some people are like very particular about how their rows line up. So you could just, you know, measure out your perfect, like this size or whatever, and then just go however many fit in that. Or there's some people that are like, well, I need it to be the same amount of numbers or whatever. So for this, I'm doing 2 rows. Some people might be like, well, I want six beads on the bottom and 6 on the top. So, but usually the way I bead, you wouldn't be able to see that middle line anyways.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I'm gonna be probably like 3, 4, 8. 8's an okay number. You just want to make sure that you don't have too long of a strand, because if it's too long, it could get like it'll like it's loose.
It'll pucker.
Yeah. So you just want to make sure that like 7, 8 is okay. It's not too that's not too long. So I would do that many. I'm okay with that number. So there's 8. And then just, it's weird, I can't feel my hands. Got ghost hands. So how I would do this, that's how it is. You can see where I went in right there. There's a knot. So I would actually go back in through that knot. So I'm back where I started. You can see that. And then I would go through those 8. So you're back to the end there. Can you see that? And then put my other beads on there.
And that's the other 8.
Yep, so I would do 8 again. And then that way you can't see that middle line. You can't tell that it's 2 rows or whatever. See that? And then of course I would have this all not the design drawn out, but you can do that. I would have the edges, so I know exactly where my edges are, and then I would know where to start my next little row. And so I can't see it because I didn't draw it, but I'll kind of guess it, I guess.
Oh,
And then you don't want to go right beside the, you don't want to come out right beside the bead, because then it's too close or whatever. So then you can put your next little row of 8 on there.
so you won't go back through and tack down that second row. You just move
Nope.
on to the next.
Yeah, because it's already tacked in the middle, because I went through it again.
Mhm.
So it's tacked in the middle right there. So there's 16 beads on that one line, but there's only 8 on there at a time.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense? Kind of.
Yep.
And then again, just going back through where I went in. Going through those beads. Make sure that it's pulled tight, not too tight, because even on this, sometimes you can pull too tight and it like puckers the appellant, or like your beads will kind of like sink into it kind of. So you can pull too tight on that, and so you just want to be careful. So can you see that kind of? Well,
Yes,
yeah,
it's beautiful.
that's a gorgeous 2 lines.
Mary, she's beading
And so you can,
design hat or beading a hat.
it's on there good. It's not like it's not loose. And again, just go. Then going back through. See, that's where it's tacked down in the middle. So it's two rows together. So, but they're tacked down in the middle, so you can't see the like seam. You know how like on beadwork you can usually see like the rows in between, which is really cool and I like it. But for something small like this, I wouldn't want a seam. That's just how I am. But you know, if you do know how to do a lazy stitch and you like how that seam looks in the middle, you can go and do that. You know, this is just how I would do it. So that's how it would look.
And you just do that all the way across for the band.
Yep. And then you can put your, you know, you can just put like blocks. Like if you're a beginner, like a beginner sewer, this is an easier project, but it's going to be time consuming. So if you are a beginner for something like this, I would suggest just doing blocks of color instead of doing like designs. And if you look at some old designs and stuff, there's nothing wrong with blocks of color because there's a lot of things where it's just blocks of color, like patterns or whatever. So there's nothing wrong with that. Not everything had like a big elaborate design. So if this is your first hat, I would suggest just doing, you know, patterns or like blocks of color, like a big old strip of white and then maybe like a blue line with yellow in the middle and then blue line again and then white and then, you know, you could do like red or like however you want to do it. Just it doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to get hard, difficult, or whatever. It's like, seems like the more difficult you make it, the more likely you are not to finish it. So just keep that in mind when beading. So yeah, any questions?
Any questions, anybody?
So just Kaylee on there.
He jumped off.
Oh.
Anybody have questions on live feed?
Trying to think what else.
So thread is D.
Mhm.
Needles are sharp
They're 11. These are 11s.
11.
Yeah,
And then beads are
they're all 11.
11. And whatever hat you want and however you want to do it.
And yeah, and for most people, I would suggest probably the short needles. But like I said, I can't feel my hands, so I got to use the long ones. With my ghost hands.
Well, if we don't have any questions, this is the Beading Design Hat class with Tiffany Baker Ramsey. She's one of our student counselors here for the college. If you have any questions, you can reach out to her via email, Tiffany Baker.
My email is tiffany.baker@sittingbull.edu.
And she's on Facebook if you have other questions. This is kind of like the edging she did so far, Amy.
Can you see that good? Oh yeah, they can.
Yeah. And then she started a little bit of kind of like if you were to do a hat band. Like that. Thickness. Can you see that, Amy? Alrighty. Glad you guys were able to watch. This is Zoom recorded, be uploaded to the Sitting Bull College YouTube. You just go to Sitting Bull College YouTube on their search engine and on YouTube, and then you'll be able to see all the recordings of all the classes. There's one class that wasn't properly able to transition. It got erased, so we'll have to make sure the Wasna class gets uploaded next class, which will be in the springtime. All right.
Oh, I could tell them this.
Oh, hold on.
So one of the good things about doing your working with the hanks and these, so when you're done and you're taking a break or whatever, you see that right there, you can always just go on here and tie it back on. Then you don't have to worry about losing your beads or having a big old thing of mixed beads. I don't like having mixed beads all messed up in my stuff. So there it is, just tied back on. And you can always, when you start again, you can just go back on that one that you worked with. And then there it is, no mess, no loose beads laying anywhere. No, you don't have to work with a plate or anything like that. So just a little tip, a little fun fact for you guys. And then if anybody has any questions or is starting to work on something like that or any other type of beadwork, you can message me on my Facebook. It's Tiffany Baker Ramsey. So if anybody needs help, let me know. Oh, and I've been beading for a really long time, like 26 years. So I know a lot of little things, so don't be scared to ask if you need to. Or if there's something you're like, whoa, that's weird, but I don't want to ask, but just ask me, because
You won't know.
yeah, I won't know until you ask me, but I could probably help you. So just let me know.
So, Mary, this is Helen. It's a thick, we use this for the horse mask. And then they've also used for like the inside of some of the purses to, they've used this for medallion making.
I think originally what this stuff is for is like embroidery type stuff.
Yeah.
So like if you want to explain it to the people, but it's usually in the back where they cut.
Yep.
They have it.
Yeah. So when I bought this, this was actually supposed to be so many yards, and I ended up getting about almost, I think it was 100 yards or so. So we'll be making lots of goodies for a long time. Any other questions? All right, guys, we're gonna sign off. I'm glad you guys, excuse me, were able to attend, be able to watch. Hopefully you guys are doing some fun activities this winter. Maybe we'll have a little show, see who all finished projects. Anyways, Doksha.